It's funny. I mean, growing up as a young child, I didn't think of any distinction. I was a Montrealer. And I think only because of my professional work, I begin to see the world outside Montreal, outside Quebec. My name is Peter Wang. I'm a Montreal-born and educated citizen, and I'm happy to share with you my story and what I think about Montreal, my hometown.
We're at the corner of La Gauchetière and Clark Street because there's a Sun Yat-sen Park just beside me. And this is basically the main area of the Chinatown, the early Chinatown that was created in late 19th century. My name is Serge Granger. I'm a professor in politics at Sherbrooke University, and I wrote a book on the Chinese and Montreal. So the bulk of the Chinese who came to Montreal at that time lived around this area. Most of them, almost all of them, were basically young men who were working as laborers. Just a little bit south from here, there was the tramway terminal, and the Chinese at that time had little shops who concentrate basically in laundromats and providing services to the people coming to work and going back home. So they would drop off their clothes and catch it at the end of the day and go back to their respective home. The laundromats closed down in the 50s, basically. That's where you started to have your own electrical machine, so you didn't need any more of the Chinese. And this is why they move into the dépanneur, or the small businesses, small hotels, for instance. You don't need a lot of capital to open a dépanneur. Also, you can provide job to your immediate family because you're open 7 days a week. Some of them are very well, I would say, educated, but they have a problem finding jobs. There is a language issue. Recognition of diplomas also is another problem for the Chinese here. So some of them, even though they have diplomas, will basically open a dépanneur.
My parents came in the 50s, and they had opportunity to come to Montreal because my father was sponsored by his grandfather. And that's how most Chinese came to Canada in the 50s and 60s. They were usually sponsored, and they came here, got a job. He went back to Hong Kong, where he met his future wife, my mom, and got married in Hong Kong, and they immigrated here right away. Being the eldest of 6, he had to come here to support the family, and he didn't have high education, so he started by working in the restaurant business. We followed the Chinese customs because my parents immigrated here, so being immigrants, they felt a need to maintain their culture and what they learn in terms of the cuisine, how they celebrate the holidays, especially Chinese New Year. So I realized that growing up, mainly from our meals and from our activities outside the home when we celebrated the Chinese New Year.
Chinatown now is so small. There's about 800 people living in the Chinatown, Chinese living in the Chinatown. A bulk of them went to Brossard, those are from Hong Kong, and another, I would say, moved up on Saint-Denis Street at the corner of Jarry, because this is when we moved the hospital that was here in Chinatown before. The last wave of Chinese, which are basically young Chinese with learning students, foreign students here, near Concordia University and McGill University, especially on Maisonneuve, and you have some in Notre-Dame-de-Grâce, in NDG also. So they're much more scattered as before. Well, in Quebec, there's about 60,000. If you make it, the census says there's about 60,000 Chinese. And those numbers, you have to consider that some Chinese do not consider themselves as Chinese anymore because they've been here for 100 years. They're third generation, so they consider themselves as Canadian.
Actually, just 2 nights ago, I had dinner with my 2 children and my wife. And they were saying to us that they grew up not realizing that they were Chinese. And because they went to English schools where mostly was North Americans, and they didn't pick up the language. We didn't send them to Chinese school, and to this very day they kind of remind us and kind of blame us for the fact that they're not fluent in Chinese. As they are mature these days and they expand their circle of friends, they are learning more about the Chinese culture. They're learning more about the grandparents' roots and ideas. But I think they accept all this. I think they find it very interesting, and they take the good from both cultures, both backgrounds, and hopefully they'll make good use of those backgrounds.